Your daughter will probably never reach her full potential if you don't understand this pyramid. So let me zoom out and show you what some of the best SEC athletes are doing so you know exactly like the kind of game you're playing if you want to eventually get to the point where your daughter reaches her full potential. There's actually a great video put out by the guys over at Summers Method on YouTube the other day, but it was referencing guys. So he's a great strength trainer and really outlines like the stuff it's going to take that you want to make sure you're considering. So I will make sure I link to that so that you can go check that out. But he leaves out some details for the female athletes, and he leaves out some details for what I would suggest if you were a youth athlete, like who's trying to get ready to eventually take advantage of what we're going to talk about in this video, which is the power pyramid. So in the power pyramid, we have 5 levels here, especially if we're talking with youth athletes. And so when we look at this pyramid, one of the most important things to look at is this 4th level here. And this is all about the relative amount of strength that you can produce in about 4 main lifts. And you could choose a couple different other ones, but I'll give you 4 in this video because it gives you something good to shoot for. You might not be here yet, you might be over that, but it'll show you like where this fits in the whole like power development plan that you're going to want to think about. So we're going to look at the bench press, we're going to look at the squat, we're going to look at the deadlift, and we're going to look at your pull-ups, okay? And we take these in relative, we're going to measure them relative to your body weight. So what we do with the bench press is you want to be able to check off a bench press where you can get 1 rep up that is 70% of your body weight. In the deadlift, we're looking to be able to produce a deadlift that can lift 1.75 times your body weight, a back squat that you can back squat 1.25% of your body weight, and be able to do 1 clean pull-up. And what happens is that when you're able to hit those strength numbers, it allows you to take full advantage of the other types of training that help you be more explosive that we'll talk about here in a second. But before we even get to those, the main reason I see girls never hit these numbers is because they start lifting way too late in their life. So if you go over, there's a great article on PubMed that talks about how there are 7 main categories of lifts. And what these are actually teaching girls how to do is they are teaching them to move in 7 different types of movement patterns and really mastering those. And what's required before you can ever touch those strength numbers that are listed in the 4th level of the pyramid is you need to be able to master the movement patterns required to be able to like move safely so that you can actually lift that amount of weight. And most people wait way too long to teach their girls how to do these movements. So one of the things that we specialize in is helping develop those youth movement patterns in athletes and combining them to their swings as well. But we actually have a movement screen that if you would like a copy of it, just leave a comment below with the word movement, and I will send you a copy of our free movement screen that'll allow you to like check off if your athlete has some movement deficiencies, because most don't have like the right types of movement patterns or the motor control or the stability to be able to eventually be able to do these lifts because they wait way too long to develop them. So if you'd like a copy of that, leave a comment below and I'm happy to send that to you. Because again, the goal is to be able to get to these numbers as fast as humanly possible, because once you're there, you can access the other levels of the pyramid. And when we move up a level, what we're talking about is like we already have enough strength, and sometimes girls are like, all right, we'll just get stronger and stronger. What happens is you don't see the performance on the field like continue to go up that you did when you first started strength training and you were kind of on the weaker side and you got a little stronger, so you got a little better on the field and you saw a direct correlation. But after we kind of hit these numbers that I've mentioned on that 4th level, then like the gains kind of slow down or stop if you don't add this stuff. So what happens on this 3rd level is we need to be able to produce force fast. So strong and being strong isn't enough. You need to be able to move those weights that we were able to hit in the 4th level as explosively as possible. And so we will do this with tools like bar velocity trackers, which can measure how fast the bar moves. And so we're looking to be able to lift those weights between 0.8 and 1 meter a second. And again, you need tools to be able to help yourself do that. And there's a whole methodology behind it. But what happens is you can actually train the body to fire faster. You don't need it to lift more weight. You just need it to take that same amount of weight, which is adequately strong enough, and just be able to produce it with more power. And then once you can do that and you can lift those weights, those minimum strength weights on number 4, as fast as the level we're talking about in the number 3, that 0.8 to 1 meters a second, then we're talking about bridging to sport. This is what the Summers Method guy talks a lot about, and he's got a lot of good stuff on his channel about it, but it's where we're trying to take the explosive like movement patterns in a game, whether that's the throwing pattern or the sprinting pattern or the swinging pattern, and we add in medicine ball throws and we add in kettlebell stuff, and we do heavy movements that help support the strength inside the movement patterns that we want for the sport. so we can get as much of our new explosive strength to transfer over to the game as possible. And then lastly at the top here is skill, which is the final layer. And there's definitely, it's a little misleading because skill is actually practiced the whole way up this chain, but it's the final piece, and you can't access all of your skill if you don't have all of these baseline things being taught. But there is skill to accessing your power. There's skill to being able to learn how to rotate in the right sequence. There's skill to be able to move in the correct patterns, and those need to be addressed along the way the whole entire time. But the problem is most people only focus on the skill part, and they never build up these other things, and they never understand what they're trying to do. So you end up being 16 or 17 years old, and you wonder why the colleges aren't calling. And it's because you never developed the power and the explosiveness in the foundation in the first place. So if you're the parent of a young athlete who has not hit puberty yet, really and honestly, the best thing you can do is you can start with their movement quality. So drop the word movement in the comments, and I will send you the exact movement screen that we use to test athletes for, so we can identify exactly what issues are wrong, so we can start to fix them right away, so we can start to get them on the right progress track with this pyramid.